Good day. So today I'm going to discuss La Indolencia de los Filipinos, or more popularly known in its English version, The Indolence of the Filipino People. So this is an exploratory essay written by Rizal. In his essay, Jose Rizal argues that the perceived indolence of the Filipinos was not an inherent trait, but a result of Spanish colonial policies that suppressed their industry and motivation. He explains the factors like galleon trade, a corrupt education system, lack of government protection, and exploitative taxes lead to the decline of Filipino economy and work ethic. Rizal also asserts that before colonization, Filipinos were industrious, and the indolence was a rational response to this oppressive condition. So some factors that were mentioned in the essay was this first is the galleon trade cut. The trade's eventual end severed the connection with Mexico and forced the Philippines into a new economic phase. The second factor mentioned is the forced labor. It was an enforced through systems like Pulo y Servicio and the Encomida. The Pulo y Servicio required males aged 16 to 6 years old to work for at least 40 days a year on projects for colonial government. And the Encomida system, initially granted to Spanish inquirers, allowed them to force labor and collect tributes from the natives under the guise of protection and Christian instruction. So these two forced labor which conscripted native Filipinos for unpaid community projects like building ships, roads, and churches. Third is the lack of government protection. The destruction of their land area, working house, led them to become nomads, or the people having no permanent home or address, and travel from place to place to find fresh pasture for their livestock. And the fourth is the crook system of education. It was a religious-centered education focusing on teaching repetitive prayers, lacking in practical subjects like agriculture and industry, which is needed for a nation's progress. Fifth is the despised manual labor. So the Spanish officials and friars often arrived at work late and left early, accomplishing little. Their women were constantly attended by servants for personal tasks they could do themselves. This modeled an attitude that manual labor was beneath people of status. Sixth is gambling, or ang sugal. So ang widely known nga sugal that time is ang bulang or ang sabong. It was widely spread and deeply ingrained part of Filipino society, a cultural pastime that became a significant social ill and source of corruption for Spanish colonial officials. It was common among all social classes, from common people to high-ranked Spanish and friars. So even ang pare naga-join man sa cockfights or ang bulang. Seventh is the crook system of religion. So this is how religious authority was misused for control and exploitation, often through institutions like the Catholic Church and friars. The friars thought that being poor made it easier to go to heaven, discouraging hard work and progress. But it was also associated with corruption, such as the friars and government officials engaging in and promoting gambling, and the church control over education, which focused on religious indoctrination rather than practical skills. And the last one factor is the high taxes. The Filipino people face oppressive and inequitable taxes imposed by Spanish powers that lead to severe hardships and resistance. During Spanish era, two primary taxes were imposed. So the first one is the cedula personalis, which all men and women residents of the island, Spaniards, foreigners, and natives who were over 18 years old were required to obtain a cedula. Another one is the tributo, a general tax of 8 reals primarily on males aged 18 to 50 years old.